I'm Linda from Rishton.
I'm Rosie from Rishton with a piss pot.
And he's Phil from Rishton, he's a bigger piss pot.
And I'm a lorry driver.
Sorry.
I'm Paul from Rishton, I work for a wanker.
I'm Phil from Rishton and work for the same person.
I'm Dave from Rishton.
Where'd you
Well,
work?
you work for in Rochdale, it's bloody miles away.
I'm Mary from Rishton, I'm a lady.
Trevor from Rishton from RS.
And finally,
Get them up
Anywhere.
The first like workman's.
Hey, I've written that on here.
What's that? Is that workman?
You don't write your name on there.
The guy bought for the sell-off.
Who's in town?
Scribble it out.
right, as you know, we start with the player first alphabetically, and that will be Dave. You're going to start, we're going to have 3 minutes. Where is it, timekeeper? Where's he gone? You haven't got a watch? Here.
I've got one, but I didn't get any instructions with it, so I don't know it works.
Bought me off first.
He's got a watch now.
I need to get to buy.
Yeah, bought me off first. Keep Trevor on.
Right,
Right, Dave.
let's start the clock and play the weakest link. Linda, which film actor was called the Muscles from Brussels?
Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
How could it be Dave Stiles and how could he start?
Oh, sorry.
Alright.
I'll start again, Dave.
The guy on the same question, he'll know that answer.
Right, Dave, what is the currency of both North and South Korea?
Dong.
No, the one. Mary, for what did George Stephenson receive a public testimonial of £100?
Railway thing.
No, his safety lamp. Trevor, on TV, who partnered Piggy Malone in his investigations?
Charlie Farley.
Correct. Paul, which musical instrument is a national emblem of Ireland? Correct. Linda, what is the capital of Spain?
Tenerife.
Madrid. Graham, in which sport do we talk about a half Nelson? Correct. Phil, in which European city is the Colosseum? Correct. Paul, how many faces has a cube? Correct. Phil, what are dried in an oast house? Hops. Dave, in which group of islands is Tenerife? Correct. Mary, which English king was known as the Lionheart? Richard who? Incorrect. Richard the First. Trevor, which fruit is dried to produce raisins? Grapes. Paul, how many sides has a rhombus?
8.
4. Linda, who was the masked hero helped by Tonto?
Lone Ranger.
Correct. Graham, what is the capital of Switzerland? Correct. Phil, what would you lock up in a tantalus? Wine decanters. Paul, which team game begins with a face-off? Correct. Phil, which smoked fish is called a kipper? Correct. Dave, what do we call a young seal? A pup. Mary, who led the Saxons at the Battle of Hastings?
Come on.
Correct. Trevor, in which town can you see the Bayeux Tapestry? Bayeux. Paul, from which country does the Paso Doble dance come?
Brazil.
Incorrect. Spain. Linda, in which country is the holiday resort of Bournemouth?
Shropshire.
Dorset. Graham, which 2 comedians wrote and sang the song Underneath the Arches? Correct. Phil, from which country does the drink sake come? Correct. Time's up. Time to vote off who you think is the weakest link. Linda, who do you think? You cannot vote for yourself. Graham, who do you think is the weakest link? Paul, Phil, Mary. Mary. Paul, right. Paul, which Paul? Paul Burns. Mary. Linda. Trevor? You got 2 right. Statistically, the strongest link was Rosie. We'd quite a few who got 2 wrong, but unfortunately, we have a tie.
Excuse me, could you have the correct name for this evening?
Sorry, Graham. We have a tie. Paul has 2 votes. And Mary has 2 votes. Paul B. So Graham, seeing as you are the strongest link, you decide.
Oh, hey, that's a bit out of order.
No, you are the strongest link, you decide.
Goodbye, Paul.
Goodbye, Paul.
Statistically, I am the weakest link. Hey, give us a bite. Hey, Paul, give us a bite.
We are now going to take 10 seconds. Let's play the weakest link. Graham, what would you expect to find in a bandbox? A hat. Phil, which sport has its headquarters at Newmarket?
Racing.
What type of racing?
Horse racing.
Thank you. Philip, what 2 colours are there on the Polish flag?
Red and white.
Correct. Dave, who was King of England when Guy Fawkes tried to blow up Parliament?
James.
James who? Harriet?
First of England, James.
Correct. Mary, how many sides has a trapezium? Correct. Trevor,
Mike.
which town is the capital of the Isle of Man?
Douglas.
You want to tell him. Paul, who is the mother of Lady Sarah Armstrong-Jones?
Margaret.
Margaret who, Thatcher?
Just Margaret.
Correct. Linda, what are the 5 lines called on which music is written? A stave or a staff? Graham, which novelist created the detective Miss Marple? Agatha Christie. Philip, what is measured in amperes?
In what?
Amperes.
Electricity.
Electrical current, I'll accept your answer.
Blank.
Phil, what do we call a period of play in a polo? A chukker.
Chucker.
David, of which country is Baghdad the capital?
Iraq.
Correct. Mary, according to the nursery rhyme, around what kind of bush should we go on a cold and frosty morning? Correct. Trevor, if you add together a century and a gross, what do you get?
120.
Try 244. Paul, who wrote the play Measure for Measure? Who wrote the play Measure for Measure? William Shakespeare. Linda, what is the unit of currency in the Republic of Ireland?
Punt.
A punt. I can hear these answers being passed around. Graham, what would you expect to find in a cruet?
Oh, salt and pepper.
I have to accept your first answer. You are wrong.
The weakest link.
Phil, how many yards in a chain?
22.
Not you that's doing marking, Phil. Philip, how many edges are there around a 20p coin? 7. David, the sign of the zodiac of Cancer is also known as the sign of the... Correct. Mary, what kind of weapon is associated with the name Winchester? I cannot accept your answer. We are out of time. Mary, keep them held up, please. Trevor. Mary's upside down. Paul right. Linda. Trevor. Paul. Linda. Statistically, the weakest link in that round was Graham Rose, having been the strongest link in the round before. Keep your cards up so we can actually see who you have voted off. Well, Linda, you have been voted the weakest link. Goodbye.
Hey, I'm not playing this again. I've only had a bite.
With your back's aching, we're standing up then, or?
You're talking to, stop putting your name down.
Hold on, Mary. It is tossing it.
Well, team, with 7 players left,
Boy.
another 10 seconds to be taken off the clock, you have a wonderful total of
340.
340 points. You haven't even reached £25, team. Have we lost a player? No, is he back?
Excuse me, can I just ask about how does this real work with banking?
Well, when it's your turn to answer a question, if you say bank before you answer your question, that money will be banked.
Before you ask the question.
As I come to you to ask the question, if you say bank straight away, the money that has been accumulated will be banked. Right, team. Starting with the strongest link from the last round. I think we had 3 of them, didn't we? So we'll start with Dave because he's first alphabetically.
It's daft, this. Just in case you're interested. With your glasses empty, don't buy your pen.
I'll fill them, don't worry about that.
10 seconds off the clock. Start the clock, let's play the weakest link. Dave, which Scottish king defeated the English at Bannockburn?
Robert Bruce.
Correct. Mary, what do KLM, TWA and Pan Am have in common? They're all airlines, correct. Trevor, which tree is associated with the Lebanon?
Oh, I know that, Trevor.
It's the cedar tree. Paul, which sport is played by the Wasps? Which sport is played by the Wasps?
Rugby.
Rugby what?
Union.
Correct. Graham, from what is sauerkraut made? Cabbage is correct. Phil, in children's fiction, what is the name of the scarecrow of Scatterbrook? Wurzel Gummidge. Phil, in which sport would you use an épée? Correct. Dave, what do we call a young goose? A gosling, but I think you heard it from the audience. Mary, with what do you play a vibraphone? With small hammers. Trevor, in swimming, which is generally the fastest stroke? Which sort of crawl? Correct. Paul, from what is a Pontefract cake made?
Spanish.
Licorice, I'll accept Spanish. Graham, by what nickname is a Boeing 747 generally known? Correct. Phil, in which sport is Peter Alliss famous?
Golf.
Thank you for telling him. That's the correct answer. Phil, what is the date of the Queen's actual birthday? 21st of April. David, what was the surname of the composer whose first names were Johann Sebastian Bach? Mary, which legendary animal is like a white horse with a single horn? Correct. Trevor, if a river is said to be meandering, what is it doing? Winding. Paul, to which section of an orchestra does the tuba belong?
Wind.
No, I haven't got wind, it's brass. Graham, which is the highest British mountain? British mountain is Ben Nevis. Listen to the questions, please. Philip, what precious stone denotes your 40th wedding anniversary? What precious stone denotes your 40th wedding anniversary? Correct. Phil, time's up. I cannot ask the next question. Time to vote off who you think is the weakest link. Who is halting your progress? Voting over. Time to reveal who you think is the weakest link. Trevor. Paul Wright. Paul Wright.